Joey, I want to thank you for coming down from Ohio. And when did you have 2 years sober?
April 20th.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
420?
Isn't that funny?
So you got sober 2 years ago on 4/19.
Yes. I got arrested for the last time on 4/19 2 years ago, 2023.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And 2 years is a big deal. 1 year is a huge deal.
Yeah.
2 years is a bigger deal. Your second year is always your hardest. So I would love to hear a little bit about early childhood, what life was like. Where did you grow up?
So I grew up in the middle of nowhere in a place called Jefferson, Ohio. A lot of cornfields, you know. We used to have like our parties in the woods. Very, very like the opposite of the city, you know. I had a great childhood. Like I don't have no sad story about my childhood. I believe that I had, you know, I know that no matter what, someone's always got it worse, you know? So like, I believe that I had everything you could ask for as a kid. My mom was incredible growing up. Like all my friends never wanted to come stay the night at my house because my mom was just up our ass, you know? My dad was around and not around. But I had normal stuff going on as a kid. I had, you know, Christmas, birthday. You know, you said something that stuck out to me in your episode. You were talking about how this thing doesn't discriminate. And yeah, I can completely relate to that, you know. I mentioned a couple years ago I was homeless living in a tent, and you know, I actually started using heroin with my mom. So her and I were living in a tent together. And if you could have seen the woman that raised me, you would have never ever thought that anything like that could happen, you know? So like, it absolutely does not discriminate. I made a video not too long ago, and I was just kind of like talking about that. Me and Richie went back and found the tent that I lived in, and it's still there. South County Line Road by the river. It's dilapidated right now, but it's still there. And I thought that was like a heavy thing, right? And I was talking about how this thing don't discriminate. And I mentioned it being a disease, and it was like, started like an uproar in my comments. I just, you know, it's hard to not like want to respond to that. And I'm like, oh, someone will say something, you know?
Yeah.
But I had a good childhood, dude.
Yeah. Did you have siblings growing up?
So I have a younger brother. We are 10 years apart.
Okay.
He is my best friend.
When you're young, that's a huge gap, though. There's not too much that you have in common until you're adults, and then you kind of come together. But yeah, so you were pretty much almost like an only child.
Yeah. And I remember like, you know, when we found out that I was going to have a sibling, I was like not happy about it, you know, being an only kid, getting awesome Christmases and stuff.
Yep.
You know, I'm like, you know, I didn't want to share, you know, that's what my thought was as a young kid, you know.
Of course.
But I'll tell you what, I'll never forget the day he was born. You know, I cried. I don't know how to explain it, but and my brother and I'm sure we'll get into this later, but my brother and I also have a very different relationship than most siblings. I had custody of him when I was 19 and he was 9. Him and I lived in my car for 3 months. He was going to school out of my car. So that kid is like my best friend, you know?
Yeah. Did you play sports growing up?
I did. Yes, I did.
What'd you play?
Everything. So baseball was like the one sport that I stuck with throughout high school. I was varsity wrestler. But baseball was like the thing that I excelled at, you know.
Yeah.
I started smoking pot when I was 12, so you know, sports kind of fall to the wayside once you start doing that.
Yeah.
But I stuck baseball out. But yeah, it was You know, when you guys were talking about sports, like I know nothing about like professional sports, but
basketball. Yeah, we were talking basketball.
Yeah, I definitely will compete.
Yep. So you are playing baseball through high school.
Mm-hmm.
Are you still smoking pot through high school? Was it more than smoking weed? Were you doing other drugs as well and drinking?
No, well, drinking a little bit. But once I found weed, like, you know how it says, like, you know, I had arrived. Like, that was, man, like.
That was your arrival?
Yeah. Well, that was my first arrival until I met opiates. But, yeah, I can say that, you know, I didn't spend many sober days after I discovered weed.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I was getting high before school every day. Getting high before baseball. I used to ride my dirt bike to baseball practice, which was fucking awesome. You know, I'd stop in the woods and smoke weed out of a tinfoil bowl or like a fucking high C juice box or something.
Just cruise.
Yeah.
So did you graduate high school on time?
Yeah, I did.
Did you go to college?
I went to Lakeland for, I don't know. I met a girl who was like in Lakeland, and she convinced, like she signed me up for college. It was pretty nice of her, actually. But when it didn't work out, I didn't have a ride to college no more, so I didn't finish. I was going for like an Associates of Arts degree, like the most basic thing that you could go for. Yeah.
Now, where are you at, like a social standpoint? Are you hanging out with the kids that you were friends with from high school, right after high school, or you kind of a lone wolf?
Hey guys, quick update. Every Monday night, I host the Rise Above Recovery meeting. It's an open meeting for any addiction, alcohol, drugs, gambling, food, whatever you're struggling with, you're welcome here. To get the meeting link and weekly updates, just email me at kevin@riseabovepod.com and I'll add you to the list. Also, if this podcast has helped you, please like, subscribe, or leave a rating. It helps us continue to spread the message of hope. Lastly, if you'd like to go even deeper with Rise Above, check out our Patreon. Supporters get access to live interviews and can chat with guests after the interview. Thank you.
So I started selling weed in 9th grade because I was pretty poor and I didn't want to wear Walmart clothes and have free lunches, you know, which is ridiculous to say, but so, you know, like, I thought I had a lot of friends. I always had a lot of people around me. And I sold weed from the time I was in 9th grade until I was indicted in 2019 or 18. So, yeah, I guess I still had a lot of the people that I went to high school with around me. I never really was like a jock though. So like, you know, like I was kind of like in my own category, I feel like. And, I didn't really like have like the kids with money. Does that make sense? The kids like whose parents had enough money to send them to like Edinburgh for baseball camp and stuff like that. I never had any of those guys as friends, but when they found out I was selling weed, you know, I sold weed to them. Yeah. And that was cool for me, right?
Yeah. You're part of them.
Right.
You're just fitting in with them. Yeah. So after you drop out of college, what do you end up doing work-wise besides selling weed?
Well,
or selling more
just
weed?
Nothing special, really, you know. I remember I worked at Waffle House for a while. I always had a job, but I always sold weed too. So nothing really special, nothing that stands out. Although so I got my first felony when I was 18 years old. I ended up pleading guilty to an attempted burglary charge.
What happened?
Oh gosh, dude. I was just had the wrong people around me.
Can you walk us through what happened that day?
Sure. So, all right. So what ends up happening with this, one day my dad calls me into the basement, and he was a tree cutter. He used to cut trees down for a living, so his work was seasonal in Ohio. And he says to me, I'm not going to be working for the next 3 months, so you need to do something to put some food on the table for your little brother. And his exact words were, I don't care what it is. I don't care if you sell drugs. I don't care if you wash dishes. He already knew I was selling weed. My town was about this big, so, you know, everybody knew everybody's business. So what that did for me was like pretty much open the floodgates. You know, at that time, I thought I was a gangster. You know, I was carrying around a freaking 9mm pistol like somebody was going to rob me for weed in Jefferson, Ohio, right? But what that did to my mentality was it just made me believe that I was willing to do anything for money. And so I had this kid, was one of my close friends in high school, actually. He got addicted to Percocets, like before anybody even knew what Percocets were, right? I graduated in 2007. So he had gotten bad and like stole stuff from everybody and then like disappeared for a while. And when he reappeared, he was clean, right? So like, you know, he was hanging back around and really the whole time he was just stealing from everybody again.
Yeah.
And so one day, I used to have this little kid who would drive me around. Well, not a little kid, he was a couple years younger than me, but he worked at
younger kid, yeah.
Right. He worked at the pizza shop Colucci's in Jefferson, and he came and woke me up one morning and we're smoking a blunt. And I had this walkie-talkie app on my phone, and Reese hits me up on the thing and he's like, you know, I got a job, you know, subcontract for you. You can make $50. I said, when and where, right? So he had been bringing this girl around, and he said, me and what's her name aren't talking no more, and I left my wallet at her grandparents' house. Door's unlocked. All you have to do is go get it. I didn't think nothing of it. It's 11 o'clock in the morning. So I asked Johnny, you know, give me a ride. He takes me to the house. I get in the house, and that's the moment I found out that I was the furthest thing from a gangster. You know, I thought I was like the kind of person that could kick somebody's door in and rob you at gunpoint. And as soon as I got into that house, I immediately knew that I was fucked up, you know? So I'm like, you know, paging him on this thing, and he's not answering. The wallet that he said was in the place that he said it was in wasn't there. So I'm like panicking. And he said, grab the jar of change on the desk. And there was one of them jars of change with like the digital counter. You know, it was $80 in it. So I grabbed it, left. Johnny took me to Walmart, Coinstar in Ashtabula. I cashed $80 in change in, kept $20, gave Johnny $20, and gave Dickhead the 40. And it wasn't long before the police were knocking on my door at my parents' house, you know. And they had kind of had their eye on me for a while because, like I said, I've been selling weed for a number of years, but I always somehow managed to stay a step ahead of them.
Yeah.
And I was bebopping around. I really was couch surfing at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when the cops finally came and raided my house. So I'm driving, doing my thing, and my phone rings, and it's a number I don't recognize. And I pick the phone up, and it's my little brother calling me from the bus driver's phone. And he says, Joe, there's 10 cops in our driveway. What am I supposed to do? I said, put your bus driver on the phone. So I had the bus driver drop him off around the corner, and I was on the run after that. My dad told me, don't come back here. You brought hell on this household. Those were his words to me. And that was the last house we lived in as a family. So like, as a result of my house getting raided, we were renting. It was a breach of the lease agreement, so we got kicked out. And my dad went to stay in Eastlake with one of his friends he went to high school with to smoke crack. And my mom took my brother to my grandma's, her mother's. And this is kind of like leading into like how I had custody of my brother. I don't know if you want me to continue with that.
Please. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, you're good. That's crazy. I can't believe that dude. I mean, I believe it, but
they told on me.
Yeah, exactly. He set you up. He got caught and told on you.
And I was the poorest one out of the three. So like, I didn't really have like their parents got him like the best lawyer, and her name was Virginia Miller. I don't know why I still remember that, but she was like the badass lawyer in Jefferson.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. I mean, listen, it's it's burglary, breaking in a house, whether it's $1, whether it's a notebook, whatever, you take something out, but just curious, it was only $80.
Yeah.
What was your mentality? Was it just, they found the weed too at my house?
They didn't find any weed at my house.
But why go on the run though? You just didn't want to deal with it.
Oh, that's a good question. Actually, no one's ever asked me that question.
Yeah.
I don't know. Actually, that was just my instinct, I guess.
Yeah. You probably would have got a felony and then you could have pled out probably.
Well, I ended up pleading guilty to attempted burglary. They were trying to charge me with there had been a string of burglaries in Ashtabula County.
Oh, no.
And if you've ever been in anyone who's ever been in any legal trouble knows exactly how it works. They throw a bunch of shit at the wall to see what sticks. And I'm an 18-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Fuck. They're threatening me with 20 years of prison. They were trying to charge me with 18 or 22 burglars or something ridiculous that had nothing to do with, but it's scared the shit out of me. I was, I thought my fucking life was over at 18 years old before it even started.
Yeah. So you go on the run.
Yeah. So
what happens?
I was staying with my mom's brother, my uncle Matt, and oh man, this is fucked up. So I find out that my dad wrote a statement on me. Right. My dad told the police where I was staying and that I had a 9mm handgun. And, I'd never found that out until I got the discovery report, obviously. But so I don't know how long it lasted, my run before they caught up to me. They ended up catching up to me at a freaking TA travel stop in Kingsville, Ohio. They had been following me on Facebook. I still was just doing my thing, selling weed out of my car at that point. And so, when they caught up with me, it was after midnight, the night they did catch up to me. So they took me to Jefferson jail, and I spent 7 days in jail only. And I had this bullshit lawyer, and he basically told me, tell him the truth.
Pull the mic closer to you a little bit. Yeah. No, you're good, dude. You're good? Perfect.
All right. Yeah, so my lawyer wasn't very much help. He also wasn't very expensive. I had not a lot of money. It was a $500 retainer I paid for him, and you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
Right. So as I said, as a result of this, my family splits up, right? And I find out that my mom is leaving my brother at my grandma's to go hang out with some dude who ends up beating her ass. But so one day, this is how I find this out. I'm sorry, I probably skated past. What was the question?
No, you're good. Well, let's just let's close the loop. So you pled out.
Yeah.
With that attorney to an attempted.
Yes.
Okay. So you do the 7 days, you get bailed out, you plead attempted. What did you get?
Probation.
Probation. Yeah. Okay. How long was your probation for?
It was 3 years, but I paid my fines and did everything they asked me to do.
Let you out early.
A year and a half.
Okay. So you were on probation for a year. Okay. So then now let's look at the wreckage of the past. Your family completely breaks up after this. Everyone's distraught. Your dad goes and starts smoking crack with a friend that he's living with. And then your mom, did they get separated and divorced at that point?
Not officially. They went their separate ways.
Okay.
And that's not what started my dad was already doing fucked up shit. That just gave him the green light to just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
At that point, my parents were only together, for the kids, you know what I mean?
Right.
But,
so your mom leaves your brother with her mom.
Yeah. So one day, my grandma calls me and she says she caught my little brother. So he would have been 8 years old, I believe. 8 years old. she caught my little brother rolling grass from the ground in a piece of notebook paper and trying to smoke it. Right? And going back to like, you know, with the family splitting up in the wreckage and all that stuff, I felt so responsible for that. You know what I mean? For a lot of years. It's probably one of the things that fueled my addiction for a while, you know? But
the shame and guilt.
Hell yeah, dude. I felt like, look what I did, you know? Fuck, dude. So my grandma calls me and tells me this, and I'm like, fuck, dude, right? Like, now God bless my grandma's heart, because she's an angel, but like, that's not a place for a kid to be, you know, living, especially if my mother's not there taking care of him. Mm-hmm. So something my dad said to me when I was young always stuck with me, and it kind of motivated what I'm about to tell you next. But I remember him saying one time, you know, if I would have beat your ass, you'd be tougher. And I think he's right. You'll probably find out throughout this interview that I'm fucking softy, dude. Like, I cry about everything.
That's not a bad thing at all.
It's just, I don't know. So, I don't know. I remembered him saying that to me, and like, I thought he was right. So I go pick my brother up from school, and so he was still going to Jefferson school, where I graduated from. And my grandma lives in Unionville, Ohio, so like, he had to be driven to school every day. So I go pick him up from school, and on the way home, I'm giving him all these openings to like tell me what's going on, right? And to his credit, he stuck to his story. You know, I asked him like, you know, okay, cool. You know, how was your day? This and that. He just gave me the generic. And I told myself that if he didn't come clean with me by the time we got back to my grandma's, I was going to smack the shit out of him. And so we get there, and I give him one last opportunity. I'm like, you know, so you sure you ain't got nothing to tell me? And he's like, no. I'm like, all right. So I tell him, take your glasses off and turn around. Like, what's in the back? What's in the back seat? I had a Buick Rendezvous. So what's in the back seat? And like, he turns around. I cued his face up, right? And fucking smacked him, dude. And God, I regret doing that. You know, like, immediately knew that is not at all what I should have done, right? And God, he's crying, and I'm crying, and I'm sorry, you know. And he's like, why? Why'd you do that, right? And I'll never forget that, dude. But that was the only time I never put my hands on him again after that. And it was shortly after that I just got to the point to where, like, dude, I couldn't go to like McDonald's and like buy myself a cheeseburger without thinking about my brother, like, being at my grandma's by himself. So it was the summertime at this point. So one day I just went and picked him up, and I never brought him back. And we lived in my car for 3 months. The kid was going to school out of my car, failing. At this point, I believe I was 19 years old. So, you know, I'm a 19-year-old kid going to these parent-teacher council meetings, trying to tell these people, like, they're trying to put my brother on Ritalin. And at this time in my life, like, this is gonna sound fucked up, but like, if you were doing anything other than like smoking pot and maybe drinking on the weekends a little bit, you were a scumbag to me, right? Mm-hmm. I thought I was better than people, right? The universe has a funny way of humbling you, as I'm sure you know.
Well, dude, I thought the same way. When I was smoking weed and drinking, I was like, oh, you're doing coke? Oof, you're a dirtbag.
Right.
And then the disease doesn't discriminate, my friend. So go ahead. You're going to the parent-teacher conferences. And I want to just say about, you know, hitting your brother. You were trying to discipline him, right? The intentions were, you know, in the right place. How you went about it wasn't maybe necessarily the right way. But you're also dude, you're 19, you're a kid too.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, you're not an 8 or 9 year old kid, but you're a kid. And it's like, you don't know anything about parenting, and you've only gone off of what your father has showed you.
Right.
And he's made that comment to you and it's stuck in your head. And, you know that you've done the work in sobriety, but so you guys are living together in your car for 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
How does it end up ending after 3 months, and where does he go after that?
So he was failing in Jefferson, and they were trying to put him on Ritalin. So I'm like at these meetings trying to tell the counselors that like this kid doesn't need Ritalin. He has no stability. Like he doesn't know if he's gonna have a place to live when he gets off school or dinner. You know what I mean? Like how could you expect anybody to hear what you're saying in front of the classroom? They didn't want to listen to me for whatever reason. Somehow I managed to keep him out of CPS, right?
That's crazy.
So I knew I had to make a move, dude. And I was saving my money. So eventually I saved up $1,000 and I got my first place. And it was just him and I versus the world, dude. And I took him out of Jefferson and I open enrolled him in Geneva. And I would drive him to school every day. And he started doing better. He got on the football team. His grades improved. And everything was okay for a while, you know? So that's kind of how that ended.
Okay. So where do things go with you after that? You're just selling weed. I'm assuming you're like 20, 21 years old at this time.
Yeah.
And what are you doing for work?
So when I got, I can't remember exactly how this went, but somehow, so my mom she was getting high. Like this guy, right, that I told you that she went off with.
Yeah.
Their big thing out there in that area is meth. That's like the big thing out there. And it's like the tale as old as time, you know, the heroin people don't like the meth people and the meth people don't like the heroin people, you know?
The wars.
So, but she was crafty, dude. She's the one who got me into that place that I told you about, my first place. I paid for it. She got me in there. I don't know how to do any of that shit. You know what I mean? At a 19-year-old, I don't know how to navigate those waters. So, so she also somehow before my charges were official, she helped me get a job at Fastenal, dude. Right? So I'm working at Fastenal, still selling weed. And of course I fucking dropped the ball. I couldn't keep selling weed and work separate. I was selling weed out of Fastenal, and one of my coworkers told on me and I got fired from there. So I kind of just went all in on the weed thing, you know. Between that and I think I had a dishwashing job at this little diner in Geneva called Honeybees for a while. Just enough to just keep mine and my brother's heads above the water.
Yeah.
Also, too, my mom somehow finagled a $500 a month food stamps card. It wasn't even hers. It didn't have her name on it, but so we had food stamps.
Wow.
You know?
So you go on. When does your drug use start to ramp up?
Actually, it took a while. So throughout the time period that we just talked about, my dad would come around once in a while too. He would come, he was dating some young girl, and he would come, and it was cool actually. He would come and put some food in my fridge and stay the night, and we would cook out. He would have me get him a bag of Coke, and he would cook it into crack in my bathroom. And he would ask me, he would try to get me to smoke crack with him. The first time he ever tried to get me to smoke crack with him, I was 17 years old. And like I said a minute ago, if you were doing anything other than smoking weed and maybe drinking a little bit, you were nuts. That was nuts to me, right? I didn't even know what crack looked like at that point. But I was like, no, what? What do you mean, dude? I'm taking care of your son. You want me to smoke crack? Misery loves company, you know? But so the first time I ever did hard drugs, I was 23 years old, 23 years old was the first time I ever did a Percocet. Perk 30. This was back in the pill mill days, right? Where like
Perk 30 blue.
Yes, sir. The M boxes.
Yep. Early 2010s.
Yeah. Yeah. So
what did someone give it to you?
So I made friends with this kid who had moved up here from New York City to get sober from heroin. And like still, all I was doing was smoking weed, and like he would tell me like about doing heroin, and I'm like, dude, it just like seems so outlandish to me. Like I just didn't understand it, right? And then also this was like around the time where my mom started doing dope. She's still out there, unfortunately. Anyone that watches this, please pray for my mother. Her name's Renee. Brendan was my good friend for a long time. Kid is a gem, dude. He'd give you the shirt off his back. You know,
he's the guy who got clean from heroin.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he moved up here to get clean from heroin, and his dad was dating this lady who had broken her back, and she had a prescription of Perk 30. She would get like over 100 Perk 30s every month, right? And she was divorced, and she would also get $15,000 a month in alimony. She had a mansion in Concord, and it was like the spot, you know? She's got a full movie theater in her basement. Still, at this time, I have no idea what the extent of what an opiate addiction is, right? So like, poor Brendan, man, like, you know, he moved up here to get sober from dope and goes right into that situation. And he was like shooting Perk 30s. And I was like, I could not, like, you know, I never like treated him any different or anything like that. I just didn't understand it, right? And so this lady would run out of these perks about 2 weeks into the month. And then she would send me and Brendan down to Youngstown, Ohio in her Lincoln with like $3,000 or $4,000, like enough money to buy a used car. And we go down there and buy these big bags of Perk 30s. Him, Brendan, and his dad, I would just ride with them, you know, just to hang out. And then one day, dude, I just was like, what is the fuss about these things, right? Let me try one. And he's like, I'll never forget this. He goes, I don't know, bro. Once you have the knowledge, you can't unknow it. That's some heavy shit, right? Once you have the knowledge, you can't unknow it. That is, brother. And my response being an out of control with an ego the size of a building, I said, there's nothing the size of my pinky nail that'll ever stop me from doing anything. And boy, was I wrong. You know?
So you take the Perk 30.
I took half of it and got nauseous. And I went into the movie theater, turned all the lights off, and rode that wave of nausea out. And then, so like, I'm like the kind of person, like I get activated on opiates. You know, I feel like what'd you say? You said some funny shit. You're like, I can convince you that I'll run for president.
Yeah.
Right?
I'll clean your whole house, dude.
Right.
If you give me opiates, you give me oxys, you give me perks, you give me whatever. If it's in the opiate family, I will clean your fucking house. And then I'll do homework with your kids after it. Like that's how much energy I get. I have the opposite effect. If I do coke, I'm just chilling.
I don't know. You know, does that like speak to like maybe like, do we have like ADD or some shit? Like,
I mean, I'm severely diagnosed with ADHD. So I don't want to say that medically, or, you know, in front of the audience, because I don't know, but that has been a common denominator amongst the other fellow opiate addicts that I've come across that can relate to what I'm talking about.
It's a curious thing.
So,
do you mind if I open this?
No, dude, you're good. You're allowed to drink something while you're on the show.
Well, I mean, this thing don't have a lid. So
no, you're good, man. And put it up on the table there too. So, okay, you are now, I got nauseous the first time I did an opiate, but then I wrote it out, and then I got that knowledge that you just talked about.
Yeah.
And then I was like, that's awesome. I want to do this again. And then I kept doing it again and again and again. Did you have the same experience?
Absolutely. The sky was bluer. fucking people were less shitty, you know, in my head anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had arrived, really, right? Fuck, dude. And believe it or not, like I maintained that for quite some time. The first time I ever did heroin, I was 30 years old, 30 or 31 years old. I can't remember.
So you still got another like 7 or 8 years until you dabbled into heroin.
Yeah.
So what was the journey on perks? Did you get into trouble with the law? Like take us through the depths of, you know, did you still continue to hang? Did that dude relapse? I'm assuming so.
Oh, well, that whole time he was doing perks. Like,
oh yeah, you said he was shooting them. That's right. That's right.
Yeah. And to my knowledge, he never strayed away from perk. They had money, you know what I mean? That's an expensive habit.
Yeah.
You know? And me just being around them allowed me to be able to support my habit as well.
Yeah.
I don't have money like that.
Yeah.
I'd be cleaning her house.
Yeah.
For perks or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Or going to the grocery store for fucking 30, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sign me up.
Mm-hmm.
But, oh, well, you know, the majority of the trouble I got into legally was just like possession of weed, trafficking. And I pled guilty to trafficking and hashish and possession of criminal tools. That was like the charge that I got in. I told you I got indicted in 2018 or 2019, and that's what ultimately landed me in the drug court program. But I didn't really get in too much trouble with pills or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was still holier than thou, right? Like I wouldn't even dream. You know how you have all those things in I don't know how far you took your addiction, but like in my head, I'm like, I'll never use a needle. I'll never do dope.
Yes.
Never say never, brother. You know?
Yeah. I think we all tell ourselves that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I did.
Can you take us through the first time that you switched over to heroin?
Yeah. So, man, it was just a random day of the week, dude. So my mom went to prison for a year. She did a year in Marysville. She got out.
What'd you go to prison for?
She got dope. It was a dope charge.
So she gets out.
They surrounded her on Eddy Road in East Cleveland. And I don't know. I think her side of the story is, you know, everyone threw all their dope in her lap, right?
Yeah.
Who knows? But
so she gets out.
She gets out. I actually, my grandpa, so her father and me, we each put in $1,000 and got a lawyer and got her out of prison after a year. Under the stipulations that she had to move in with me, she was to have no contact with. She wasn't allowed to go anywhere near Geneva, which was where she was ripping and running, where she's still ripping and running this day. But, and she was on, what is it, parole when you go to prison? It's not probation, is it?
When you go to prison,
yeah, and
you get let out on parole.
Okay, so she's on parole. And she's got to do random drug screens every week. So I have to drive her. I had a house in Newberry, which is, I mean, who knows what the fuck New is? Geauga County. Mm-hmm. And just this little 1-bedroom cottage. So, you know, it's me, the girl I was with at the time, and my mother living in this thing. And I feel like I had a babysitter. You know, that's what I felt like anyways. You know that part in the book where it talks about, if I could be the actor and the director, and if everybody would just do what I tell them to do, everyone, including myself, would be happy.
Yep.
That was the first page I ever read in the book when I was in jail. And it stuck with me because it described my 20s to a T. That paragraph or statement that I just said, that described my 20s to a T. Right? So my mom did what she had to do. I had to take her to meetings. I had to take her to Cuyahoga to screen a couple times a week. She made it through. As soon as she got off parole, she went right back to doing dope. And So going into the first time I ever do dope. So she moves out of my house and she
Your mom.
Yes, sorry. My mom moves out of my house and she gets a job at a horse farm in Chagrin. Beautiful, beautiful place, dude. It comes with living quarters. So there was an apartment attached to this barn. It was a gorgeous place. And, you know, she's getting high. And I knew she was getting high. But I was getting high too at this point. I was doing perks, right? And so this is interesting to me because I spent a lot, like the first half of my 20s so angry at her, right? Because I couldn't understand how she raised me and abandoned my brother, you know? And then I know both sides of the fence, you know, being addicted to opiates. Now I know what she was going through. And empathy is a humbling thing. You know? Being able to have empathy for people is, I believe, why I feel so happy inside. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So one day I didn't have the $40 to get a Percocet, and I went to the farm and I asked her for $40. She's like, I don't got it. And I said, come on, I never ask you for nothing. She's like, I don't got it. And I said, all right, well, whatever. Fuck you then, I'm leaving, right? So I go to leave and she goes, well, I got something for you. It'll make you feel better. And I'm like, what? She told me it was a perk. I knew it wasn't. Something about like, I don't know what kind of relationship you have with your mother, but you feel safe with your mom, right? Like you feel like your mom would never let nothing happen to you. And so, you know, you hear these horror stories about heroin, like growing up in the Dare. I was a Dare era kid, you know. The first time you ever do it, you're gonna be homeless and all this stuff, right? But you know what it's like, that sickness, those boundaries that you set for yourself. You cross them to not feel that sickness. And so I let her lie to me. I knew it wasn't a Percocet. It was already in a line. She used to snort it off of a plate. This was before IV use. And I snorted heroin with my mom, and I wasn't sick no more. And fuck, dude, did that start the most vicious cycle of misery, you know, like it just, I'm lucky that it didn't kill me. You know, where it ended up taking me, where my addiction ended up taking me. I'm so grateful to be alive.
What did heroin feel different than the perk?
I don't know if this is gonna make sense, but I almost felt like dirty.
Using heroin?
Yeah. I felt like
probably a mental thing.
Definitely. Ego.
Yeah.
Right.
Pills are pills. Like doctors can prescribe them. That's what I used to tell myself. Yeah. Doctors can prescribe them. I am an addict, but I'm not that bad. Right. I'm not the guy under the bridge.
Right. I was.
Mm. How much longer until you started shooting it?
A while. So, well, I don't know what's a while, but a lot of stuff happened, you know, to get me to that point. So I ended up moving into the farm. And my little brother was already living there. And I learned later that my mom did heroin with my brother before I did it with her, my little brother. And they hid it from me because, you know, they knew that I would have flipped out. Like, who am I to, like, I'm doing it too, you know? It was just this weird dynamic, very codependent and toxic relationship, family relationship. So it's me, my mom, and my little brother all living at the farm. And there'd be days where like, oh my gosh, dude, this shit got so bad, Kevin. She had this little Toyota Tacoma. None of us had our license. All of us had warrants. And the tags were expired on her truck. And we were driving it from Chagrin Falls to freaking Caledonia Street in South Euclid every other day to get dope. All three of us piled in that 2-seater truck. And of course I had to drive every time. You know, I'm not a passenger.
Yeah.
But it was fucked up, dude. I don't know. This is gonna sound nutty too. Like even in those times, I still felt like I was the only voice of reason. Like if I left it up to them two, they'd spend every penny we had on dope and we'd run out of gas on the freeway getting home, kind of thing. Right?
You were better with money management.
Fuck yeah.
You ran a weed business for so long. You were the finance manager.
Maybe that's where I got my entrepreneurial spirit from, right?
You were the CFO of the farm. So,
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, when you're using heroin, you definitely run out of money. What were some of the things you guys were doing to get money?
Oh man, good questions, man. Lying. Stealing the people. So the farm, the horses we were taking care of, dude, they were retired race horses. Equestrian is a expensive hobby. So, and those people ain't never seen heroin addiction. So they had no idea that we were fucking strung out. I don't know, man. Whatever we could.
Dude, if I were you, I would have sold probably one of the horses. I would have. Those things are like $100,000, maybe more in some cases. Like that's how crazy I used to get. Like,
I know.
Dude, let's just sell a horse and we'll just act like it ran away. You know, like
Man.
that's how fucked up I was.
I can't believe I never thought of that.
I know, bro. Quick $100K.
Holy shit!
You could have bought a driver to
I've
drive you.
I've never even seen 20K. I probably would faint if I seen $100,000.
You would have went through it in a month. You probably wouldn't even be here.
For sure. Yeah, I would have died.
So walk us through then. Do you stay living with them for a while up until you end up shooting eventually?
So, all right, here's how this happens. So, it was all three of us there. I have a hard time like with time recollection. Like it could be like I see a kid, and now that I'm a stepfather, it's a little easier. But like before that, like I'd see a kid, you're either like 3 or 12. Those are the only two ages, I think, right?
Yeah.
So like I wish I had a better recollection of like exactly how much time was spent there, but eventually I met a girl, and you asked one of the ways we were getting money. Mm-hmm. This girl had no idea what she was getting herself into either. She was from Cleveland Heights, like Fairmount Boulevard. And I definitely owe this woman an amends if I ever see her. But we would lie to her to get money, just all kinds of stuff, dude. But eventually I was so miserable that I told her the truth. I told her what was happening. And she had to save me, She got me out of there. She took me to a detox in Alliance, Ohio, 7-day detox thing. And I want to park on this for a second because something that we talked about earlier made me think of something that happened to me at this place. So I'm at this detox place and it was co-ed, okay? The girls are on one side of the hall where the guys are on the other side of the hall. I had snuck a little vape in there, and there was this girl who was in there. I can't remember her name, but she was an IV user. And, once you go through like the 24 hours of withdrawal, they can start giving you Suboxone or whatever, right? And so once you're able to get out of bed, they make you go to these one meeting a night in-house. And one time, one of the nights we were talking, me and this girl were just like having a conversation. And I had let her use my vape. And she goes, I have hepatitis C. And I'm like, what? I had no idea what that was. I had no idea, right? I'm like, what? I said, how? She's like, from sharing dirty needles. I go, why would you do that? What an asshole, dude. right? I felt like such a piece of shit for that. Like, and it's just like, I don't, it still like sticks out in my memory. Like,
you were judging her.
Yes, bro. Like, how dare you? Why, what?
Mm-hmm.
I believe the closer you come into a relationship with God, the more and more you have to relinquish your ego. The more and more it's a humbling process, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't there yet, obviously, but I felt so terrible about that. And like, who the hell am I to say something like that to somebody?
Yeah.
And it was like foreshadowing.
I know. Yeah.
You know?
You're about to get there.
It's so I make it through that. I get out and I was okay for a while. She got the girl, we ended up getting an apartment in Little Italy for a couple of years. And I stayed off dope. I was on probation. Okay, so I violated probation. The reason, remember I was telling you how we all had warrants?
Mm-hmm.
So me and my brother are co-defendants in a trafficking case. And the reason why we both had warrants at that time was because we both fucked probation off because we were getting high, right?
Wait, how did your brother get probation?
So me and my brother, we had a house together, a different house,
okay,
in Newberry, and we were selling weed. And somebody
dropped a dime.
Yeah, somebody wore a wire, made 2 controlled buys.
Okay.
So we were co-defendants.
Got it.
And the judge was so good to us, dude. He gave us a chance and we fucked him off. He gave my brother another chance. My brother fucked him off. Judge David Andre. Yeah. He was at my, he wasn't at my graduation, was he? I don't know. Anyways, sorry, go ahead.
No. So you and your brother, you had a warrant and you blew off probation.
So after I go to detox,
yep,
I went and dealt with it. So I was on probation and I had the sweetest deal, bro. I only had to report once a month. That was it. Mm-hmm. And I made it almost. I got to within 2 months of being like successfully completing, and I started doing dope again. What had happened was I was still getting high, but I was just smoking weed. Like what would happen was like I would smoke weed for like a couple weeks and then I would flush my system out, but I was drinking the whole time. Mm-hmm. Still. So at this point, I have no knowledge of what an alcoholic is, right?
Yeah.
I have no knowledge that I'm an alcoholic. Mm-hmm. You know, tracing everything back, everything I did was done alcoholically.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I'm driving home one day. I'm in traffic off of Euclid Avenue, and this guy threw a gram of dope in my car window with his number in it. And that's how I started doing dope again out there.
What? Wait.
Yeah, dude.
Wait.
Yes.
You're driving.
Yes.
And
East Cleveland's the Wild West.
You hadn't done dope in how long?
I've been clean for over a year off of dope.
At that point?
Yes.
Okay, and you're just cruising. Dope is your drug of choice, and then your windows are open and someone throws a bag of dope in there with their number on it.
Yeah, so like, all right, so I'm at a red light, and I hear this beep, and I turn around, and I'm like, I don't see none. I hear it again, beep, turn around, third time, this dude's like, he pulled up, and he's like, you party? And I'm like, yeah, what's up? He fucking threw a gram of dope in my car. And I didn't do it right away, but I also didn't throw it away, right? Fucking asshole. And so like at this point, I felt so guilty about like my brother being stuck at the farm with my mom, you know? So I moved him in with me. He still had a warrant. I was doing what I was supposed to be doing for probation. My brother was still running from his warrant. So now me and him are back to doing dope again together. And it just, shit got really bad. Shit got really bad, dude. To make a long story short, we got kicked out of that place. That girl kicked us out. She had enough, which, God, I don't blame her, you know? Mm. And so then me and my brother were homeless in East Cleveland for a few weeks. It was during Christmas time. My brother ended up getting arrested on his warrant, taken to jail. I had stopped reporting to probation at this point. So I, again, had a warrant. So you asked me how I got to IVUs. This is, sorry if I'm, So I had nowhere to go. I don't have any friends or family in Cleveland. I'm not a city boy. I didn't grow up in the city. So eventually I end up back in Geneva where my mom is. And, you know how it is. Well, I don't know if you know, I'm sorry. But one day there wasn't enough for her to snort it and me to snort it. She was already shooting. And so I asked her to shoot me up. And that's how I started using the needle. And I never, ever did it any other way after that.
Your mom was the one who introduced you first. Yeah. How
I asked her to do it.
Yeah.
She didn't put a gun in my head. You know?
Right. So you go on now, you're an IV heroin user.
Mm-hmm.
And walk us through the next few years. Obviously, 2018 was a big year for you. You got indicted, right?
Yeah. So I don't know what year it is now. So maybe it's 2021 or 2022 at this point.
Oh, you're past. Okay, so that was the whole probation thing then.
Yeah. So
got it.
Like I said, I made it up until 2 months. If I would have made it 2 more months, I would have been released off probation.
Got it.
But I started doing dope again, and that threw it all out the window.
Got it. I got a little mixed up with your story there.
Worries.
Okay, so it's 2021-ish.
Yeah, so now I'm back in Geneva. I use, IV use for the first time, and spare you most of the details, but my mother and I are homeless now in Geneva, Ohio, and nobody wants nothing to do with us, right? Oh, God. So this guy was letting us stay in his house. I told you that we lived in a tent in South County Line Road. Before that, we were living in the house that was on that property in South County Line Road, but my mom wouldn't fuck the dude whose house it was, so he ended up kicking us out. And he was a meth guy. Meth guys don't like the heroin guys. They don't want us around, They don't want to have to fucking Narcan us, They don't want the cops showing up. They're too... anyways. I almost said something fucked up. So we're banished to the tent at this point. At least it's not wintertime, right? Mm-hmm. So now my mother and I are living in a tent by the river, shooting dope, man. That lasted a little while, bro. I ended up finding somebody. So I still had connections in Cleveland, right? Because I lived out there for a couple of years. So I was able to go to Cleveland and get dope at any time. But at this point, I don't have transportation or a way to get out there. It's like, fuck, dude. It was really hard. We ended up finding somebody in Geneva or in the area that sells dope, but it was 7 miles away, dude. I was walking 7 miles one way every day just to get enough dope to not be sick.
You walking 14 miles?
Every day, bro. Every single day.
It's like that's more than a half a marathon.
It would take me all day and night. I would get back.
Strong legs.
You wouldn't know by looking. But yeah, that was fucked up, dude. Miserable existence, bro. And I want to say this. I was listening to some of the stuff that you went through and talking about what we're talking about right now. Let's just take a moment to acknowledge the tenacity, right? What the fuck, dude?
I would do anything. To get high. Anything.
There's nothing that would stop me from doing that, right? Mm-hmm. The tenacity that we displayed in our addiction. By the time I was ready to get sober, I made a decision that, dude, if I could just apply a quarter of that tenacity to what we're doing right here, mm-hmm. There's nothing we can't do, right? Yep. Gosh, man. So yeah, I was walking 7 miles there, 7 miles back every day. My mom, sometimes we'd find a pedal bike. But it was fucked up, man. I eventually ended up getting arrested because, so one night we got a bad bag of dope. It wasn't getting us high, or it wasn't keeping us high. We would do a shot, and less than an hour later, we'd start going through withdrawals. So we're like, what the fuck, right? So I ended up, dude, my mom stole this guy's truck, this dude named Vince. He's no longer with us, rest in peace, but stole his truck, brand new truck, comes and picks me up. At this time, the kid we were getting dope from was staying out in Euclid with some chick. So we drive a stolen truck out to Euclid, go pick him up, take him to his dope boy, because, you know, his dope, we got the dope from him. So he's getting sick too. We ended up getting arrested in the Madison Family Diner parking lot. Somebody seen us shooting dope in the parking lot and called the cops. So I'm driving this truck. It's me, the kid we were getting dope from, and the kid he gets dope from. And so we shoot the dope and we go across the street to the gas station. And I had some girl's food stamps card at this time. So I was going in there to buy freaking chocolate milk or something. And I had 2 needles in my pocket. And, you know, the Madison cops pull up, and I seen them pull up. They seen me get out of the truck, right? So I go in, trying to play cool. I go up to the lady and I said, is there a bathroom in here? Because I was going to put these needles in the toilet. Why I didn't just like take them out of my pocket and kick it under the counter or something, I don't know. But I didn't have anything else on me. I'd already done the dope, so I didn't have any heroin on me. I had those 2 needles in my pocket. So I pay for the chocolate milk and I walk out like nothing's wrong. And I'm like, I don't even look at the truck when I walk out, right? I fucking walk, I'm starting to walk the whole other way. And now at this point, these 2 assholes had already gotten out of the truck and they're walking separate ways. Cop's like, motherfucker, where do you think you're going? I'm like, what's up, dude? He's like, is this your truck? I'm like, hell no. He's like, I seen you get out of it. I said, you didn't see me get out of nothing. He didn't have I noticed that he didn't have the light to his body cam wasn't on. So yeah, you know, where I think I'm going with this, who knows? Yeah. Right? Fought it out to the end.
The gas station has cameras.
Right. All right. So I wouldn't tell him my name. They got let go. I'm the only one who got damn arrested. And God, this is ridiculous. So it's crazy how hard I fought to hang on to something that was killing me, you know? So finally they get me in the back of the cop car and they're taking me to the Lake County jail. And this cop had the window rolled all the way down. And we hit about 100 red lights from Madison to Painesville. And I told myself, I said, if we hit another red light, I'm going for it, right? So I'm handcuffed behind my back, emaciated. When I got into jail, I was like 125 pounds or something, 129 pounds or something. Sickly. And we hit another red light and I jumped out of the cop car window in the middle of Route 20. Didn't get anywhere. Got stuck, you know, by my waist, fall flat on my face. Cop gets out. And I had it all planned out too. I was like, okay, I'm gonna wait for the light to turn green and him to start going because he's gonna have to hit the brake, put the car in park, take his seatbelt off, open his door. These are all seconds that I'm gonna have to get away in handcuffs. Where the fuck am I gonna go? So yeah, I didn't make it. He fucking put his knee on the back of my neck and I'm like, I'm sorry, dude. He got me back in the cop car. They took me to jail and I sat in booking. I wouldn't tell them my name for 3 days. They shut the water in my cell off, just torturing myself. And then finally, I didn't have any fight left in me, you know, and I finally was just like, all right, you guys got me, you know. Yeah. My name is Joey.
Now, is this when you get clean, sober?
Almost. This is almost when I get clean. So went through withdrawal in jail.
What was the withdrawal like?
Fuck, brother. Dear God, I wouldn't wish it on my enemy. I laid on the floor in booking for 7 days. Gosh, man. Terrible. Shitting yourself. The only relief you get is if you can get in the shower and it's only like a minute of relief. You know, it's just sucks, dude. Sucks.
What was the physical pain like?
Oh, man. You know, I had been sleeping in a tent for a couple of months. So, like, I was pretty beat up, you know. I would say like an 8. You know, my lower back was fucked.
The legs, right? The
I hate
restless legs.
That is, in my opinion, that is the worst withdrawal symptom, is the restlessness, the restless legs.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to chop my legs off or my arms. Oh my God. I would the only way I can sleep in jail is like laying on my arms. So I spent 5 months in jail, got out, and they sent me to a residential treatment program. And now I had no clue about help. You know, I thought that in order to get help, you had to have money. I didn't know help was available.
Mm-hmm.
I learned this by going to jail.
Mm-hmm.
So I told the judge, I need help, you know. Finally, fuck, dude, I need help. You know, look where my will took me, you know. I need help. So they sent me to a 90-day residential treatment program, and I wasn't ready yet, man. I was still hung up on, you know, just shit that I thought that I was still gonna smoke pot or, you know, drink. And I was open about it. I wasn't like secretive about it in group. I would talk about it. I would say like, look, I'm not gonna treat myself like a sick person every time I walk into a restaurant. You know, eventually I want to sit down and have a glass of wine with my beautiful woman here, you know. And they would tell me, yeah, maybe you can do that. But the chances are you're gonna end up back doing the thing you really like. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no way, not me. I'm special. Yep. I'm different, right? That's exactly what happened. So what ends up happening is I did my 90 days there. I ended up relapsing at an NA anniversary meeting. I had already completed the 90 days. I was waiting to get into sober living. I got a Percocet at an NA anniversary meeting. And that week, I was in Euclid buying a gram of dope. Now, this is when she comes into the picture. We had met at a meeting, and I was on bullshit. My intentions were not pure, right? I've been locked up for 5 months, then in treatment for 90 days. You know what it is. So I met her and dragged her ass down with me. She was fine before she met me. She was in sober living. She had her kid. She had a car. And then within a month of knowing me, it's all gone. Her and I are fucking homeless, dude. Living in her car. Kid's gone. Mom took her kid. God, the way I met her mother was atrocious, bro. Probably the most embarrassing moment in my life was the way I met her mom. So I had relapsed, like I said. That night, I had her come pick me up at 3 o'clock in the morning from treatment. I was also sneaking her into treatment. I would have her show up to the back door in a ski mask because there was cameras. And anyway, so she picks me up. I had packed all my bags. She picks me up and she sneaks me into her sober house. She was in one of them, like the mommy and me sober houses. Mm-hmm. So I'm staying with her at this fucking sober house that I'm not even supposed to be at. Guys aren't supposed to be there. And it didn't take very long. I was trying to hide what I was doing from her. I had already went back, already got myself a box, and I already had needles again. You know, I was already right back. It took no time. Mm. It took no time for me to get right back to it, you know. So eventually she figures out what's going on, and then we start using together. And it didn't take very long for just dude.
Bottom out again.
Yeah, bro. Destruction. So
how do you guys end up getting sober?
So her mom shows up at the sober house. She'd been acting funny. And we had been up for a couple of days. She's not answering her phone. She just comes in without knocking. Her mom and her dad. Fuck, dude. I had a box of needles sitting on the top bunk. Her mom rips our son out of her hands, fucking finds my box of needles as she's gathering the kid's stuff up to take him, right? Fucking dude pulls her sleeve up and sees her arm. Oh my God, bro. Drags her in the bathroom and starts beating the shit out of her. She handled it so well. I could hear you from the outside just going, stop. Like, you were so calm. And I'm like, I could hear her punching you or slapping you or something. So what do? I fucking grab my box of needles and fucking run out the door.
Of course you do.
Right. Because I'm like, well, the cops are coming, right?
Yeah.
And I hadn't known her very long yet, so I didn't know if I could trust her.
Yeah.
So, but I already automatically assumed her parents are calling the cops, right? So I go run across the street and I go into Longhorn bathroom and do a shot. She's calling me and I don't answer. She's calling me. I pick up, I'm like, what's up? She's like, where are you at? And I'm like, why? I think she's trying to set me up. So I'm like, go to Dunkin' Donuts. And I stood behind like scramblers or some shit and watched to make sure that she didn't have anybody with her. And she pulls in. I get in the car. We go out to Geneva where my mom's at, right? Because that's what I do. Every time I relapse, I go running right back to my mom, getting high, right? Because I know she's got it right now. So it went like that for a while. We lived in her car till her car stopped working and we lived outside. We ended up getting arrested at Walmart, stealing grapes and lunch meat. Tried to not scan it through the self-checkout and didn't work out. She had a fanny pack on with our dope and our needles in it. The loss prevention meets us at the door and I'm like, give me the fanny pack. So I take the fanny pack. She goes with loss prevention. I'm out the door, about to hit Route 20. I didn't even make it halfway out of the parking lot and 2 Madison cops come pulling up. They got me. They arrested both of us. I faked a heart attack.
Yeah, that's the move.
Yeah, got out of the handcuffs. They put me in the ambulance. I'm thinking, I'm scot-free. I'm going to get out of here. They take me to the Geneva hospital, take the fucking handcuffs off me. And I'm like, all right, I got to wait a minute because he's probably sitting in the parking lot still. So I get my phone, I text my people, and I'm like, I'm about to be walking down Route 20, come pick me up. No more than 3 minutes later, a sheriff comes walking in. I was dealing with local cops, and the sheriff comes walking in. I'm begging him. I'm like, bro, just let me go. You don't even know my name. Just fighting so hard to hang on to what was killing me.
Yeah.
So they take me to jail. I get there. She's already been booked in. It was fucked up, dude. So went through withdrawal in jail again, and this was it. This was it for me. Like this was that's what it took.
Yeah. So for the viewers / listeners, your girlfriend is here in the studio. So every time he's saying she and her, it's his girlfriend. And so you guys both now today have the same sobriety date, right?
Yes.
That is insane. And you're both over 2 years sober.
Yeah.
So I do want to say they always, usually your running partner, like this never happens.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an anomaly for sure.
This never happens. So, I mean, you guys are out of the woods, right? 2 years is a good amount of time. I commend you both on what you've done. And I want to hear more. Let's talk more about the solution now. So like
goodness.
You guys, thank goodness.
Thank you, bro.
Dude, you were the one elaborating
I know.
on
I'm sorry, dude.
the war stories, not me.
I'm really happy that.
No, dude.
So like when I was looking into what you do, when I learned that this is how you have the show set up, I was like, that's awesome.
Always
it just made me so
solution.
happy.
No, because there are people listening right now and they don't know what to do. And they just heard, okay, they were able to relate to you.
Exactly.
So relate. But then let's say that's all someone can do when they listen to my show or watch my show. Then what do they do?
Right.
Right. So now the credibility, right? So let's talk about your first 90 days. Now, how long were you in jail for this time?
So this time, okay, so it was 5 months the first time. Oh, goodness. Okay. I was in county for a month, and then they sent me to this place called NeoCap.
It's like a camp, right?
Oh, my God, dude. It's a
like a boot camp?
It's a 5.5 month cognitive-based treatment. There's absolutely no spirituality in there. It's solely looking at your thought pattern, your thought process, why we do the things we do. It was a tough thing.
Better than jail.
It was very valuable. Yeah, it is better than jail. It definitely is. You could, The food was better than jail. And
did you stay the full 5 months?
So I did, the way it works is like there's phases. There's 4 phases. And if you make it to the 4th phase, you know, as long as you have somewhere to go, they'll let you out.
Yeah.
The most you can stay in there is 5.5 months.
Okay.
I think I did just over 5 months.
Okay.
So go ahead.
So your first 6 months, you were in a structured environment.
Yes.
Were you guys able to see each other, you and your girlfriend, or no?
No.
Okay, so that's actually a great thing.
It's a great thing.
And that's why you guys are in a healthy place now.
It's a great thing.
Because you were able to build that foundation on your own, sit with your own feelings, not validate one another through one another. So it's actually great that you guys did that. And that's why you guys are still together today and still doing the right thing.
You are awesome, bro, for just pointing that out. Because yes.
That's the truth.
It is the truth. And like, so like, all right. So I'm in this place and so you're in a room with like 6 other people and I'm watching all these dudes get letters. And at this point, I have no idea if she wants anything to do with me, right? And I was hoping, like, I don't blame her, you know? I fucking took everything from her, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So like, I mentally prepared myself to be single, and that exactly what you said, that gave me the opportunity to really look at myself for the first time in my life. I spent my whole life taking care of everybody but myself.
Yeah. So drugs, alcohol, gambling, sex addiction, those are all symptoms of the disease. Everyone's like, well,
Amen.
If heroin didn't exist, I would never have. No, that's not the case. These are all symptoms. The disease, alcoholism, addiction, whatever you want to call it, that's in here.
Amen.
Right? So I could take drugs and alcohol out of my life and then gamble. I could take drugs and alcohol out of my life and eat a pint of ice cream every single day. It's escape. It's an escape method, a way to numb out, not feel. I could get with girls. That's a great way to, you know, and the fact that you had that mentality, sitting with feelings, sitting with that uncomfortableness of the unknown. You don't know what's going to happen. Fear of, and then you go through it and you're like, wait a minute. I was able to get through that. And it passed the feelings. And they were tough for months, but I got through it. And that's a huge, huge point of reference when you're dealing with things in sobriety. People die, life on life's terms, you lose jobs, whatever it is. So can you go into, let's move away from the relationship a little when you get out of the camp or the treatment, whatever that 5 months was. Talk to me about some of the tools that you implemented and what did you do to stay sober once you were back in the real world?
Beautiful question. So in this place, this Neocat place was where I decided that I was really going to do this. There was a lot of fear involved with that decision because it's all I know. I don't know how to be sober. I have no idea how to be sober. And okay, like think about the implications of this decision as well for me. Okay, so for the first 3 months that I was in jail, I was convinced that my mother was going to die while I was in there and it was going to be my fault because, you know, I had never seen anybody overdose until she overdosed. And it was the scariest shit that ever happened to me, dude. So like, you know, making the decision to get sober meant that I couldn't have any contact with my mother. I had to, you know, and that's like she raised me, dude. Like no matter what happens, I will always, that's my mom, you know, and I want nothing more for her to just be okay, you know. So the tools, man, gosh, there's a lot that goes into this, you know. There's a lot that goes into this. I had to build a foundation, man. I had to really take advantage of the time that I was given because nobody just gets 5 months to fucking work on yourself. That's a gift. That's a gift. And then after that, I went to another 90-day thing. Lake Geauga, saved my life. So during that time, I wasn't in there fucking around. You know, I'll tell you something that really, I started journaling in there. I started writing. I have pile of notebooks from the time that I was in NeoCap to the time I did residential till now. Anybody that knows me never sees me at a meeting or anywhere out without something to write with, because it's extremely important to me. Every bit of research I've ever done on the positive benefits of writing, it's all good. So that's something that really helped me out. Getting numbers, dude, building that sober support. Because up until this point, I don't know anybody that doesn't do drugs. So now I gotta find people that don't do drugs, and they gotta teach me what it means to be sober. I don't know. I have no idea what I'm doing. All I know is that I don't want to get high anymore, and that I was willing to do anything it took to not get high. Anything.
You hit a bottom. The pain was great enough.
God, dude, it was so bad.
When was the last time you had contact with your mom?
Oh, man. So I didn't speak to her for the whole first year of my sobriety. And then around Thanksgiving of...
Last year?
Yeah. Thanksgiving, yes. Thank you. Thanksgiving of last year, her boyfriend reached out to me. She had gotten arrested in August of last year, and I've been praying and praying and praying, like, God, do something about this, please, right? And she got arrested, and I haven't spoke to her for over a year up until that point, but now all of a sudden, she's... you can text people from jail now?
No, I did not know that. Well, unless they have a burner phone in there.
No, they have tablets in jail now, bro. You can watch fucking Netflix in jail.
So I actually had Joe Exotic on my podcast.
Oh, I seen that.
And he would talk to me from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. and he would get a tablet. But he was doing it from DMs on his Instagram. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
So but I didn't know you could text actually.
Yeah. So crazy. She was texting me from jail, begging me to get her out. And I'm like, I'm begging like anyone that might get her out, please leave her in there. I have a lot of friends that are no longer with us that died that same way. They got arrested, shit got out of their system. They went back to the street, got high, and that was the last time they ever got high. So I was praying and praying, begging God, please leave her in there, please, begging anybody that might get her out, please leave her in there. So she got through it. She went through the withdrawal. She was in there long enough to go through the withdrawal. Because when you're in that mode, you're in fight or flight. You're fucking desperate, dude. You'll do and say anything to not feel that sickness.
Yep.
So she made it through that. When she gets out, I don't really talk to her too much. And then Thanksgiving of last year, her boyfriend reached out to me because I didn't know. I had to protect myself. And I know that, like, I knew that I wasn't in a place yet to where if she was getting high and I did go around her, that I wasn't safe yet.
Yeah.
So her boyfriend reached out to me and said, your mom hasn't gotten high since August. You should be really proud of her. And I'm like, no offense, Jim, but my mom's a grown woman. If she wants to get a hold of me, she's got my number. She was texting me, asking me for commissary money in jail. Tell her to reach out to me. So I ended up meeting up with her and her boyfriend that night. I had this turkey. I was supposed to cook the turkey and I got it too late, so it never thawed in time. So now I just had this fucking 20-pound turkey. And I'm like, so I asked, I said,
frozen.
Yeah. I
Nice.
said, did you guys have a turkey for Thanksgiving? And they said no. So I met them at this, I was working at a coffee shop at the time. And I met them at the coffee shop in public and gave them a turkey, reunited with my mom, hadn't seen her in over a year, and I think she was doing all right for a while. She wasn't I would know if she was getting high. She wasn't high during the times where we'd see each other, right? We were loosely communicating through text. And then I just found out maybe a little less than a month ago that she's back on dope.
Yeah. Sorry to hear that.
I thank you.
So what is life like for you today?
Man, I'm so glad you asked me that. So, I spent like 6 years on probation and 12 hours later, I'm on a plane coming down here.
You just got off yesterday, 2 days ago?
July 31st, I graduated. Wow. August 1st, I'm on a plane coming down here. Cool, right? How cool.
So today is August 4th.
Yeah.
All right, so you're 4 days off of probation. and you came on my show.
Thank you for having me on.
Dude, thank you for
such an incredible opportunity. Man, she's never seen the ocean before until 4 days ago. So we've been up every morning at 4:30 and we're on the beach watching the sunrise.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, just pouring out to God, dude. Like,
yeah.
How amazing, bro. Like, I would have traded my life for nothing today. And I just want everyone to feel like this. That's why I want to come on and do stuff like this. You know? If more people knew what their purpose was, my life today is amazing. I have my own place. Her and I, we get to see our kid. We're working on getting custody back. I don't owe nobody a fucking thing. You know, I don't look over my shoulder today. And we're doing a lot of really cool stuff too, man. Started this thing on TikTok. Her and I we designed and created our own recovery journal. I want to give you one, if you're all right with that.
You brought me a journal?
Yeah, one of our journals that we made.
Whoa, thank you.
Wait till you see this thing, bro. I brought you a shirt too.
Dude, thank you.
So every star that you see on the covers thing, she put it where it is. She like
hand placed each star?
She did all the color grading on that. And so it's a very lightly guided journal. Like we put stuff in there that really, really help us out on our journey.
So it says on the back, yesterday, now, tomorrow. So yesterday and tomorrow are both crossed out and it says now. That's amazing. Dude, this is beautiful. I journal every day, like you just talked about.
Awesome.
The thoughts in the morning are very tough for me. I'm a piece of shit. So you got to just write it and kind of helps you clear your head for the day. This is beautiful. Well, all right, business idea really quick. You placed it, but then you have it copied, right?
So we designed it on Canva.
Got it.
And we published it on Amazon KDP.
Got it. You should sell these.
We are. They're for sale.
Oh.
They're on Amazon right now live.
All right. Where can dude, shout it out. Where can people get these things from?
So if you just go on Amazon and type in My Recovery Journal, it's on the very first page. They're $10 a piece. We wanted to make it cheaper than everybody else's. And, you know, so another thing, like on Fridays, I get this incredible opportunity, this super full circle moment, bro. On Fridays, when I'm in Ohio, I get to go back to the treatment center that I got sober at and I get to facilitate a meeting. And it's just something that I look forward to all week. And, you know, when I got out of jail and went into treatment, I didn't have one shred of my own clothing. I had a pair of shorts and a freaking hoodie that had pot leaves all over it. I threw it away. For the first full year I was sober, the only clothes I had were clothes that were donated to me. So like when I see these guys come out of jail and they have the freaking jail sandals on, you know, so like I've been like, any money that I make off of those, I buy the guys hygiene stuff and clothes. And because I know what it feels like to not have shit in there and not have nobody that gives a fuck about you. You know? She was the only one, bro.
So I do want to say too, for the people listening and watching, if you are in recovery or even if you're not in recovery, this is pretty cool because it's structured out here for each day. You could do like, how could I have made today better? I am grateful for. So a gratitude list, dude. I constantly will, throughout the day, just my mind will go down in the dumps. And a gratitude list always keeps me grateful. It pulls me out of my own shit. And I mean, you know, I'm sure your sponsors told you, I'm going through this, da, da, da. Oh, well, why don't you make a gratitude list right now? And then your mood, your mind is just completely in a much better place. So you have all like these tools. It is a structured guide. Not only can you journal in here, but it's a structured guide and, you know, to help even turn your day around or just put things into perspective, because that's what we need, just a better perspective sometimes.
Perspective. So like, you know, I don't want to get like religious or anything, but like it says in the Bible that I've unlocked the keys to be content in every situation. To me, that means perspective. When my perspective shifted from being a victim to like looking at my part in things, my whole life changed. I truly wish everybody could feel what I feel. So, yes.
Joey, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for taking a trip from Ohio, 4 days off of probation.
Yes.
Amazing. It's truly an honor. And the fact that you came all the way here and showcased the vulnerability that you did just to help someone who potentially is struggling out there and hears this. So thank you. Thank you to your crew for coming out here with you. And I appreciate it, man.
Kevin, dude, I cannot thank you enough for this opportunity, bro. You know, not only did we get to come on and hopefully deliver a message of hope, we also got to hang out at the ocean. You know, I'm here till the 9th. So.
It's great, man. That's Saturday. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, thank you again.